Greetings guys, I'm Rob Chapman, nice to meet you, thank you for watching this video. It's going to be a long one, it's going to be an in-depth demonstration of the incredible, I'm so proud of this little thing, the Victory Amplification Red Dwarf, or RD1 as we decided to call it. First of all, just to say, because it's quite a long video, I'm going to annotate some jump points at the bottom of the screen so you can jump to a gain tone or a crunch tone or a clean tone and skip the banter if you can't be bothered to listen to the bants which are about to ensue. This amplifier has taken such a long time to develop and bring to market, and I want to tell you why, because it's really special. And thank God for Martin Kidd and the guys at Victory for really listening to an artist, which I think has been shown time and time again now with Guthrie Govan, with Bia recently on the Kraken, and with myself previously on the Silverback and now on the RD1. Victory are really good at just doing what the artist wants rather than what they think the market needs, which is a rarity in this industry and something that I'm really happy with. So the RD1 came about because in my band, we're a new band, Dorje. We tour, it's going great, it's really exciting, but we're a new band, and that means that sometimes we play little venues, we've got to jump in, you've got a really short amount of time to get on stage, you've got a really short amount of time to get off stage. Often you're playing a gig with two other bands, and you guys, if you tour or play pub gigs in England, you know what it's like. It's quite difficult to get into a venue, get out, carry all the gear. I'm 40. You know, I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to be carrying masses of gear all the time. We have a crew, but you've got to help out. So I wanted something that was small enough and light enough that I could do sting band operations and get into a venue, get out, and not break the back of my crew or myself. If you don't know who I am, I own a guitar company called Chapman Guitars. I'm in a band called Dorje, and I make YouTube videos. And as such, I travel abroad quite a lot now to Germany, America. In fact, recently I toured the west coast of America with Chapman Guitars. It was brilliant fun in the tour bus. And again, you don't want, on a long tour, when you're flying abroad, to have to fly over a really heavy amplifier if you're not sure whether a store's going to have one in for you. This is designed specifically to fit. Actually, it's smaller than the requirement for hand luggage on an EasyJet flight, which is awesome, because it means if I'm budgeting and I want to take my rig over to America, I can take this in hand luggage, I can take my little mini pedal board in my suitcase and then stick a guitar in there in the luggage as well, and I'm done. I've got my rig in an aeroplane for pretty much not a lot of cash, and that's important to musicians because we don't have a lot of money. Let's be honest, you know, it's not easy making a bit of cash in this industry. So that's the first reason for the RD1, something light, a quick guerrilla sting operation to get you in and out of the venue, really light, especially in London when you've got to park and then get to the venue quick and then move your car in case you get a parking ticket. It's a pain in the ass, nobody wants that. No, ain't nobody got time for that, so RD1 sorts you out. It's so lightweight, but don't be fooled by the fact that it's mega lightweight and really small. Just because it's small doesn't mean it sounds like a small amp. It sounds like a big amp. It's 28 watts. When I crank this thing to kind of a third of the way, acoustic guitars in my room start to resonate with it. It's got low-end frequencies, which I'm hoping you're going to hear through YouTube today. I'm mic'd up. You probably can't see the mic, but I've got a mic down there. I'm using the Shure. You're also going to be hearing it blended with a little bit of ambient room mic occasionally, if I feel like it, just to give you a sense of the room, because it's quite a nice room here. I've got a bit of a hall. The RD1's really simple. When I first said to Victory that I wanted something really small and I wanted to keep the price as low as possible so that people could afford to buy it, because I can remember what it was like to be a kid and not have money and then save up and get a little digital thing, and it was awful. They weren't sure if we could do it. And it was a difficult one. It was a bit disheartening because I said, look, I really want to make an amp. I want it to be tiny. I want it to be really loud so that I can rehearse. So it needs to be more than 25 watts. I want a low switch, I want it all valve, and they were like, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen for any less than sort of, you know, £1,000, just because they're an English company and the amplifiers are handmade. And I thought, fair enough, well, let me see what we can do. And I spoke to Martin Kidd, and he said, you know what, I think we can do this. And sure enough, we did. So I'm really happy. It was no holds barred. This is a boutique amplifier. By the way, it's red because I didn't want someone to walk off with it in a sound check, or, you know, when I've got off stage and try and nick it easily. And when it's bright red, it's not the easiest thing to just walk off with unless you sneak operation, stick it under your coat or something. Talking of which, my first two of them did get stolen, so I suppose that was to no avail. I wanted an amplifier that was really simple, no confusing bullshit whatsoever. I'm going to talk straight with you. As a vocalist and a guitar player, I don't want lots of things to do on an amplifier. I want it simple. I want one channel. I want that channel to go from clean to scream at the turn of a knob. I want it to sound full and fat, so it fulfills a rhythm criteria, but also so it has enough saturation to get me that lead saturated sustain without it sounding too fizzy or fuzzy. And we absolutely achieved that too. You're going to see all the spec in the comment section below, so you can take a look. In fact, Victory even posted the wiring and the internal circuitry, so you can take a look at that as well. It's on a really thick PCB board, but it is handmade, and the components are pretty high quality. All valve. I'm talking a lot, I know, but I'm excited and there's a lot to tell you. So basically, to keep this thing small, we decided to use a couple of flick switches to really isolate the treble and bass frequencies, and then you fine-tune it using the contour feature. Now, this contour takes you from really high-end to scooped-out mids metal. It isn't your normal contour control. It is no way a cheap feature. It's just a really great way of isolating the tone you want by flicking two switches and then turning the contour. I love it. The gain knob takes you from clean all the way through to filth. I need to tune this Fender. The master volume, depending on whether you're on the 2-watt mode or the 28-watt mode, takes you from a really great bedroom tone all the way through to your gigging, and it's probably too loud for a gig in some cases. I have before taken little lunchbox amps to gigs and been told to turn them down. So I think the thing is that a lot of people are still in the mindset of I want to be louder than the guy in my band who's got the Marshall 100-watt head. The thing is, in my opinion, what sounds best is an amplifier absolutely working its balls off, rather than an amplifier that can give you loads and loads, but you can only turn up halfway because otherwise it's too loud. And anyone that's toured a lot will know, front of house, they don't want a lot more than 25 watts worth of power, because it's going to spill onto the stage, you're going to get feedback, it's going to be too much. So, in my opinion, this is the perfect amount of watts. Live, I'm actually going to be using 2 of them for lots of different reasons that I'll get into in a minute, but you don't need 2 of them, one of them's fine. So, you've got a master volume, you've got a contour control, you've got a gain control. Easy. Anybody can do that. Now, to complement the trio of knobs, the 2 switches are deep and bright. It's as simple as that. Low frequencies, high frequencies, not a lot else you need to know about that. On the back, and I'll give you a close-up now, bling! We've got an effects loop, which is critical for the way I play, and a blend so that you can choose how much of the wet or dry signal that you're mixing in. Now, unlike most other dual EL84 driven amplifiers, the Red Dwarf is fixed bias. Now, what that means is on the downside is that when you change the tubes, you've got to get them biased. A lot of amplifiers do that anyway, and actually it gives you better performance. But on the upside, it means that you can get 28 watts, of valve power from this tiny amplifier. A lot of people have been skeptical about 28 watts, but I guarantee you, it's 28 watts of power. So it's really, really loud. I mean, in fact, I haven't driven at full volume here because I just couldn't do so. I'd be scaring the horses and the pigeons and probably the elephants in the zoo 1,000 miles away. So it's It's a really powerful amplifier, but it's got the tones that you want. It goes from clean tones through to metal tones and everything in between. And although I own a guitar company that makes guitars, I'm going to show you some of these tones on a bunch of different brands to give you an idea of the kinds of guitars maybe that you use. So I've got a Fender Tele, I've got a Gibson Les Paul, I've got a PRS, and then I've got my own personal signature model to use as well. So why is it called the RD1? Well, it's a short story that I'll tell you. I was on tour and I was describing this little red amplifier that I was building to my tech Pablo, and he said, well, why don't you call it the Red Dwarf? And I thought, you know what, that's a great idea. And it reminded me of the star, the Red Dwarf, which is really powerful and red, and I thought that was kind of a cool thing. Totally forgotten that one of my favourite TV programmes was Red Dwarf, and although you can't legally own the name Red Dwarf because it's a star, out of respect to Grant Nader, I decided to shorten it to RD1. So I refer to it as the Red Dwarf, but we're selling it as the RD1. So as always, we're going to start with some clean tones. I've got the gain rolled right off. I've got the master just over half. And the contour is just back off from half. I've got the deep switch disabled, but I've got the bright switch enabled, and I'm in the 2-watt mode. So this is the perfect kind of home tone, as opposed to pro tone or live tone, which is the 28-watt setting. I've got the Telecaster from Fender, the volume and tone are full up. I'm using the little bridgy bridge here, and this is how it sounds. Middle position. Crisp and clean, everything you need. By the way, the first bit I played was with a bit of a reverb pedal, and then the second part was without a reverb pedal, so this is without. And this is with my T2 from TC Electronic. There's a Telecaster clean sound for you. Okay, something a little bit more beefy. This is a Prs Custom 24 that I named Wednesday Mark II, and I'm using the humbuckers, but I'm coil tapping in the middle position. This is how it sounds. Something mega beefy for you, Les Paul standard. Taking the reverb off, this is just the sound of the room and the microphone. Here we go. This is the Chapman Ghost Fret. This is actually my signature model. Currently my favourite guitar. Everyone's got to have a favourite. The others don't know though, so don't tell them. And this is how it sounds, coil tapped and clean. tapped the humbuckers and I've crunched up the 2-watt setting on the RD1, and this is the kind of tone you're going to get from that. Obviously it gets thicker. By the way, I'm about as loud as I am talking, which is really, really nice. Let's put the gain halfway up and just increase the volume just a little tiny bit more. Now I still don't have the bass switch activated because I prefer quite a bright, clear sound, but let me show you what happens if I do. So without the bass switch, with the bass switch. The bass switch is better off used on the 28-watt setting when you're really gunning it in a gig. In fact, I have both the switches activated then, but in the 2-watt setting, there's enough resonant bass frequencies around that I just use the bright switch and adjust the volume and gain to taste. So yeah, I mean, it can be a bit of overkill because there's so much available on tap. Sometimes you don't want all those bass frequencies getting in the way of the guitar because, of course, it's a mid-focused instrument. That's where it should sit. So, moving on, let me give you another guitar with the same crunch setting. Humbuckers, PRS, crunch setting, 2 watts. Sounding amplifier. Let's give you a bit of a Telecaster. The RD1 is specifically designed to not have too much gain, as in the kind of gain where you go, well, I never use that. It's designed to have optimal tone. So what you'll find is that even at full gain, it isn't too much unnecessary gain that... Clean, musical, beautiful overdrive. I love it so much, man. But here's a couple of rhythm tones with the Tele, and it's all the gain. The volume's pretty much where it is. It's nice bedroom volume. Honestly, when you get the privilege of designing something like this with a guy like Martin Kidd and Victory, it's just a bit of a dream come true, really. Plus, I think it looks sick as an amplifier, just to have this little teeny teeny little thing. By the way, it doesn't really get hot because although it's got glass in it, it's valve powered and everything, it's no warmer than you'd wash your face in a sink or something. Let's try a different guitar. Let's try a Les Paul. Slightly lower end focused, so I'm going to roll off some of the contour just a bit. It's got all that kind of, I dropped my pick, I'm so excited. It's because what it's doing is it isn't giving you fuzzy, fizzy, kind of digital processed crap. It's got that real hard driven plexi, old school sound that I just love. For a nicer lead tone, it does that thing where it turns into beautiful harmonic feedback. Let's just try it with the Ghost Fret because it's my favourite guitar. See how that sounds. Ghost Fret's got really hot pickups, so I've actually just rolled the gain off a little tiny bit because I don't need all of it, and this is how it sounds. Great. You know what? Let's move on to 28 watts. If you've been watching all of this, thank you for joining the ride. Up to the high setting, got to back off that volume because it's going to be way too much for me to deal with. Obviously on 28 watts, you get crisper, you get more headroom, so better clean tones, yeah? So let me just really quickly give you kind of a clean tone with this. So here comes a typical kind of rock rhythm type setting. I've turned the reverb off, so this is just the guitar humbuckers. The volume is just over halfway up, 28 watts. Half the gain, backed off the contour. Bright is in, but bass isn't in, but I'll put it in a minute for you. Middle position. We'll bring it into a lead type tone for you. Probably a bit loud actually for the room, but whatever. Reverb's back on. Here's a lead tone for you. That's not all the gain I can give it more, but it's the beautiful natural sounding sustain. What I'm really enjoying at the moment is using a little tiny wah I've got, the mini wah from Dunlop. For some reason, well, I know why, this amplifier takes pedals really well. In the front and in the back, we designed it to do so because I use only a few, but they're quite important for my rig. I use a boost in the loop to give it an extra volume stepper from playing a solo. An MXR MC401, and I use mini wah. I use a spark in the front just if I want to get that kind of feedback, crazy sustain on stage for fun. Occasionally a delay and a reverb, but that's about it. Had to take pedals really well. It takes them really well. Here's how the mini wah sounds. It's absolutely insane. Tap it and back it off a bit. Okay, so lastly but by no means leastly, and thank you for watching this entire video, I'm going to add the bass in, take the bass out on the 28 watt setting. So here's how I have it set for playing on tour, although I would normally absolutely gun the volume. Setting, this is what you get. It's insane. Let me sweep the contour for you as well. I'll put everything central. And the brightness is in, the bass is out, and I'm going to sweep the contour from the bottom to the top. There you go, that's the RD1 from Victory Amplification. Really proud, thank you so much for watching this video, being involved. Let me show you the little thing. There you go. It's teeny, it's meany. It'll sort you out on tour, clinics, little gigs. 2 watts for home use, 28 watts for live. I've been Rob Chapman. Take it easy. Chappers out. Have a pick.